Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, boat capsizes with 100 passengers in Taraba State. Herders kill 1, injure 14 in renewed Taraba farmers' herders clash as Catholic priests, 4 others are abducted. President Bola Tinubu and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz meet in Abuja. And on the foreign scene, Palestinians break into Gaza UN aid warehouses as death toll tops 8,000. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I'm Aisha Salihu. We begin in Taraba State, where an engine boat carrying over 100 passengers capsized mid-water at Benue River on Saturday. The boat, it was gathered, left Mayoreneo local jetty at about 3:30 p.m. on Saturday, carrying the passengers with their loads to Binari town across the River Benue, but it capsized 40 minutes after sailing. A resident of Mayoreneo, simply identified as Musa, said it was the same engine boat that ferried the passengers from Binari to the Mayoreneo town, but unfortunately involved in the mishap while going back to their town after attending the market. The acting chairman of Inland Water Transportation in Taraba State, Jida Mayoreneo, said about 15 bodies were recovered close to the scene where the boat capsized. The Taraba Police Command spokesperson, Superintendent Usman, said he is yet to receive report of the incident. And now, still in Taraba State, herders have killed 1 person and injured 14 others in a renewed crisis between farmers and herders in Yewa Abare community of Aridokola local government area, Taraba State. The crisis started after a herder took his cattle into rice farms, which destroyed huge sections of the field. Narrating his ordeal, one of the victims of the crisis, Haruna Yusuf, said they were harvesting rice when a herder came to pass through their farms with his cattle, but they prevented him from doing so because there was no cattle route through the farms. The herder insisted and pushed his herds into some portion of the rice farms that have not been harvested. Yusuf stated as a result, a crisis ensued between the herders and farmers in the process. A herder cut off a finger of a farmer and hit another on the head, which led to a pandemonium. The victim said majority of them escaped into the bush, and the lucky ones went to Yewa Abare village, while the wounded were left unattended. With a view to foster unity in their community and overcome the challenges facing them, the Kuteb ethnic nationality in Takum, Usa and Yantung development area has called on the state government to intervene in solving the problem bedeviling their traditional council. The report.
The Kuteb ethnic nationality, known as Inditrikwen or Zomfere, is believed to migrate from Egypt into the interior Africa under a leadership of their king called Kuteb in around 1000 BC. History has it that they moved into the Central Africa and eventually to West Africa through Cameroon and into Nigeria, settled on the hill, which is now called Takum. The first paramount ruler of Kuteb in Takum is Ali Ukwe Ibrahim, who becomes Ukwe of Takum since 1912 and died in 1996. According to John Irashi, the Assistant Secretary General, represented by the President, said the unity and peaceful coexistence is all they need to sustain between them and their neighbors. Irashi said there has been uneasy calm in the area since the demise of Ukwe of Takum in 1996, adding that the situation became more worse when some tribes that are not from Kuteb community were made kingmakers. Also speaking on the issue, Professor Ishaku Pichinodu of Modibo Adamawa University of Technology, Yola, said he is not aware of any society where 2 or 3 tribes come together and make one tribe a king, sidelining the others.
Lack of paramount ruler, the youth, the younger ones, don't respect the elders again. And there's disarray, clannish differences. As we have highlighted in the paper, the Kuteb is not a tribe, it's a nation with many tribes, 12 tribes. So the problem that we're facing now is having our traditional ruler, that is the paramount Ukwe in Takum.
Speaking on behalf of the Koteb youth, President Koteb Student Union Dambaba Mfulani Raymond said to promote cordial social, political, economic and cultural relationship between Koteb and other nations, certain things need to be reviewed to foster unity and promote love so as to live together as brothers. He also decried security challenges bedeviling the community, adding that a village less than 7 kilometers to Yusa local government area has been attacked by bandits. Worried over the development, Professor Esther Baba Shamaki lamented what she called deterioration of traditional leadership of Takum since the demise of Ukwe of Takum in 1996.
We're trying to tell them how peacefully we are, but today as we speak, our entire village, our entire nation, to be precise, Takum, Osa and Yangtu Special Development Area, we cannot sleep with both two eyes. The society of these days is not favorable to us. We've been sleeping, we've been thinking, we've been running up and down. As we speak right now, our people are not at home, particularly myself in my own hometown, my village where I was born and brought up. Just 7 kilometers away from the headquarters of the local government. I cannot be sleeping there now. Why? Because of the bandits interrupt our village. They don't give us the peace to stay. Well, we were hoping and we were believing that we are the peace-living people. We love people living with us and we love interacting with people. But
very, very important for us to have that social media. But the use of the social media be used in the good way. If it is used in the wrong way, it doesn't help. And most of the students use this in social media. When they use it, it affects their studies. Some of them, they use this in social media. Even in the classroom, you see them, they're chatting with their friends in WhatsApp. And they will not even pay attention.
The community called on federal, state and local governments to intervene in fixing the problem for peace to reign among Koteb Nation and their neighboring tribes.
Gunmen in the early hours of Sunday invaded the Reverend Father's Rectory of St. Anne's Parish, Sarikin Kudu, and the Ibi local government area of Taraba and abducted Reverend Father Thaddeus Tahembe. In a statement by Reverend Father John Jerome Lakay, Director of Communication, Catholic Diocese of Wukari, on behalf of the Bishop, Most Reverend Mark Nzukwe, explained that the priest was abducted at the Reverend Father's Rectory of St. Anne's Parish, Sarikin Kudu, by yet to be identified armed men. According to the statement, the Reverend Father is a priest of St. Anne's Parish, Sarikin Kudu, Ibi local government area of Taraba State. Still on security matters, 4 kidnapped victims have been rescued at different locations in Katsina State. The victims regained their freedom on Saturday following a joint operation by police operatives and the Nigerian Army during a routine patrol along Dankolo village in Dandume local government area of the state. Police Public Relations Officer in the state, Abubakar Sadiq Aliyu, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, saying the victims have since been reunited with their families after undergoing medical examinations. He said the State Commissioner of Police, Abubakar Musa, commended the professionalism displayed by the collaborative team during the rescue operation, stressing that the fight against all forms of criminality in the state continues with the unwavering determination and vigilance. The police commissioner asked the good people of the state to remain vigilant and promptly report any suspicious activities or individuals to the nearest police divisional headquarters. And away from that, the Nigeria Labour Congress will embark on mass protests and industrial actions in Imo State on the 1st of November due to what it termed persistent violation of the rights and privileges of workers by the state government. National President of the NLC, Comrade Joe Ajaero, who unveiled the union's plans on Sunday in Abuja, said repeated efforts to engage in constructive dialogue and reach amicable agreements had been in vain. He accused the Imo State government of habitually breaching agreements and continually trampling on the rights of workers. Labour therefore urged all stakeholders, including civil society organizations, to stand in solidarity with the workers of Imo State in the face of these violations. It is also calling on the state government to honor its obligations and recommit to respecting the rights and privileges of workers.
The violent interference and disruption of Imo State Delegates Conference demonstrates a blatant attempt to impose favored candidates on the workers, undermining their democratic rights. Nigerian Labour Congress calls on all stakeholders, including civil society organizations, to stand in solidarity with the workers in Imo State in the face of these egregious violations. We implore the Imo State government to honor its obligations and commit to respecting the rights and privileges of workers. As long as it refuses, we will continue in this course.
Meanwhile, the National Industrial Court sitting in Owerri, the Imo State capital, has issued an extended interim injunction restraining the organized labor from embarking on any kind of strike in Imo State. Both the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress are further ordered not to embark on Occupy Imo as planned until the next adjourned date. Justice Nelson Ogwanya gave the order after hearing the submissions of the Attorney General of Imo State, Cyprian Akaolisa, who approached the court to grant an extended interim order against the defendants in view of their fresh threat to embark on strike through Occupy Imo. The defendants are Nigeria Labour Congress and the Secretary General, Comrade Emmanuel Ugboaja, and the Trade Union Congress and its Secretary General, Comrade Nuhu Toro. Their argument was hinged on an affidavit by which the first defendant, which is the NLC, by a letter dated 16th October 2023, is currently mobilizing its members from the southeast and south-south for a strike to occupy Imo from November 1, 2023. After hearing from both counsels in the suit, the court granted the order of extended interim injunction restraining the defendants from embarking on any strike in whatever guise. The court warned against the disobedience of its order, saying that it will attract consequences. The court adjourned the matter to November 3, 2023 for either hearing or report of settlement. Still in Imo State, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Samuel Anyau, has urged residents of the state to remain focused and ensure they reclaim their state come 11th November 2023. Anyau stated this while addressing newsmen in Owerri, the state capital, where he reiterated his resolve to unseat the incumbent government and put an end to the numerous ills caused by bad governance in the state. Trust TV's Ajibade Praise has details of the story.
Senator Samuel Anyau is one of the contenders in the November 2023 governorship race. He has at several occasions said he is in the race to salvage the situation of the state by making sure the state experiences peace and enjoy dividends of democracy. He maintained that though there are attempts to distract him through the use of instrumentality of incumbency, but he remained ever focused.
You know something, nothing distracts me. I'm always focused. My eyes on the ball. And meanwhile, nothing is happening. The truth of the matter is that in the next 17 days, we're taking over Imo State. That's the truth.
That's a strong one.
Yes. Forget about any judgment. No judgment is coming. That's a fluke. As far as I'm concerned. It's just a main fluke.
Speaking further, Anyau described his massive followers and acceptance as a movement. He attributed the development to the total resolve by residents of the state to change the narrative of governance in the state from the current state it is to a better one.
Imo people have taken a direction where they're going to. It's not about me. It's about Imo people and the present administration. It's a movement. What you're seeing today in Imo is a movement. It's not about Imo needs a change. And I'm sure you're aware that Imo needs a change. Nobody's comfortable with what is happening in the States. I can assure you, Imo will speak.
It is less than 14 days to the election. Imo residents are hopeful that the poll will provide them an opportunity to elect a leader that will govern and implement the right policies that will ameliorate their sufferings. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Still on election matters, the Taraba State Independent Electoral Commission said it has begun preparation for the conduct of the forthcoming chairmanship and councillor election for the 16 local government areas of the state. The reports.
Local government election was last conducted in Taraba State during the administration of late pharmacist Dambaba Damfulani in 2008 when Honorable Ali Sani Kona was declared winner of Jalingo local government. Since then, no election was conducted by previous administration, a situation the present governor, Dr. Agbu Kefas, said has brought setback and denied the citizens' right to vote for the candidate of their choice to oversee the affairs of the local government. This necessitated his directive to the Commissioner, Taraba State Independent Electoral Commission, TSIEC, Dr. Due, to prepare for the conduct of council's elections. Speaking on the level of preparation, the TSIEC chairman told newsmen that all arrangements have been concluded, adding that both the sensitive and non-sensitive materials required for the election have also been produced, calling on political parties to field candidates for the 18 November chairman and councillorship election in the state. He ensured the citizens of free, fair and credible election. Leadership of political parties in the state said preparations are in top gear for the election as significant number of aspirants have registered awaiting for the scheduled date for primary election.
And we're going to disseminate to them not verbally but in writing. Okay, and we want to use the IPAC chairman, the Inter-Party Advisory Council. He supervises all the political parties, and we intend to do that so that every party will have this information in writing. And we intend to conclude it, hopefully, God willing, this week. We are ready because the materials like sensitive, non-sensitive materials, we cannot sit here and procure them.
All Progressives Congress APC chairman Ibrahim Tukur El-Sudi called on TSIEC to be fair and just to the electorate by declaring actual winners of the election.
It is one of the reasons I came back to Jalingo. I came in today to organize the election that will take place on the 18th of November. That is the local government election. It is the exclusive preserve of Taraba State Independent Electoral Commission under the Taraba State Electoral Law 2002.
Well, as a party, we have issued notification to our local government chapters in regard preparation for the local government election. We try to align them with the programs as released by the State Independent Electoral Commission. There is that mobilization that is ongoing. People have indicated interest for the chairmanship position in the 16 local government areas.
We are fully prepared because as I'm talking to you, we have aspirants almost all the local governments, and we have it in Jalingo as we speak. So we are fully prepared on the forthcoming election.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we'll take a look at why residents react to declining number of ceremonies. Details of this story and more to come. Join us again.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the federal government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy operations fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows Abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will go to higher education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institution.
But just a short while ago, you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Adam's Kitchen on Trust TV. Try grating it. I am going to show you how to prepare a Singaporean chicken rice. Like this. Back here and get my carrots ready. Put in some amount of oil on the skin. I will now go ahead and take off the chicken, spread it to a desired shape.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying. If you're just joining us, this is the News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of some of our top stories. We told you that boat capsizes with 100 passengers in Taraba State. Herders kill 1, injure 14 in renewed Taraba farmers' herders clash as Catholic priests, 4 others are abducted. And now moving on to other stories. The Suleja Area Council in Niger State has promised to make the area a trade-friendly environment, announcing the suspension of some levies against some certain transporters. The report.
Call that Trust TV reported on how some traders lamented during an interview about the activities of various task force officials as well as thugs who they accused of harassing their visitors or motorists that convey their imported goods. Following the report, the council, under the leadership of its chairman, Isiaku Bawa Naibi, held a meeting with the concerned stakeholders in the sector comprising traders, transport unions, as well as the officials of the Niger State Transport Management Agency, NISMA. Haruna Garba Kaninko is the chief press secretary to the Suleja Council chairman. He speaks on the development.
Following the report by the Trust TV, the local government, the honorable chairman of the local government immediately constituted a mini committee headed by the council secretary with the instruction that he should go around all the entries and exits here in Suleja to ascertain those who were, and they've gone around, they've screened them, and all those task force that were considered by one trading order were cleared of the road. We passionately appeal to them to consider Suleja as their home, that all the observations and the complaints were properly addressed. Now Suleja is trade friendly. They can come into Suleja without any form of molestation. The honorable chairman has vowed to make Suleja as a very friendly environment.
He said following the report, chairman of the council personally held meetings with all stakeholders primarily responsible for blocking the road and causing molestations that Transport Union are complaining of, and cautioned them on the need to be professional in conducting their duties. The state commander, Niger State Transport Management Agency NISMA, Mohammed Awal Atijo, said the agency has reduced the number of checkpoints scattered across the Suleja zone, with officials being directed to operate only around junction corridors with the aim of preventing traffic violation around there.
The local government is very much aware of this allegation, and that some few weeks ago, the Honorable Chairman of the local government, Honorable Issa Koba Onaibi, held a meeting with the officials of the transport unions and the members of the Niger State Transport Management Agency, NISTA, who primarily were responsible for blocking the roads and causing all these molestation that the transport union are complaining.
Which he identified as one of the causes that leads to the unnecessary traffic buildup. The NISMA commander called for the motorists' understanding by cooperating with the officials, especially when being ordered to stop. This, according to him, is aimed to make transportation safer, as well as check the people with questionable characters on the road.
Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has assured residents of the state that his government will continue to strengthen operations of security agencies in the state to keep the state safe from criminal activities. The governor made this known when he presented 30 operational vehicles to security agencies in the state to boost their operations. The report.
The governor was represented by his deputy, Adebayo Lawal, and was accompanied by some government officials as he handed over the vehicles to the various security agencies.
For maintenance of peace and security and tranquility in Oyo State.
The deputy governor, in his address, revealed that the gesture was a fulfillment of his principal's promise to enhance the state security architecture. He urged all recipients to utilize it for its intended purpose.
With all the efforts we are putting in place, criminals will look elsewhere, not Oyo State, to perpetrate their heinous crimes. I urge on the representatives and the commanders of our security agencies in Oyo State to make full use of the patrol vehicles.
Out of the 30 vehicles distributed, 15 were allocated to the Nigerian police, and the remaining 15 were distributed among various states and non-state security agencies.
This is to demonstrate that security is prioritized. It's one of the 4 pillars of Governor Seyi Makinde's administration.
The benefiting security agencies assured residents of improved security architecture in the state across all zones.
On behalf of other security services, I'm promising the state government that the best use of these facilities will be made, and by the special grace of God, the continued peace and security we enjoy in Oyo State shall be maintained.
The distribution of this vehicle will enhance our efficiency and effectiveness in Oyo State. We are going to police Oyo State with the conjunction of other security agencies to make Oyo State a safe haven to all and sundry.
We feel delighted to receive these 2 vehicles given to us. It will actually enhance us in the performance of our duties in patrol and essentially in enforcement of road traffic regulations in the state.
The operational vehicles are expected to aid security agencies in their efforts to maintain safety and combat criminal activities in Oyo State.
And on to health matters. Chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association Rivers State Chapter has advocated the need for the country to have provision of organs bank, where such are kept and donated to people in need for survival. The medical expert made the call during the Physician Week activities held in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The report.
Worried over the continuous organ harvesting in the country, especially sales of kidney, Chairman of the Nigerian Medical Association Rivers State Chapter, Dr. Ebby Robinson, said the association is advocating against donation of organs for profit or money-making. He also called for strong legislation to control organ donation in the country.
Human organ donation are very anonymous, but as physicians, we are advocating that no donation should be done for profit and no donation should be done for money. And because there is a change in the narrative that organ donation is now a source of income to some certain persons. So organ donation should be free, should be practice-based, should be need-based. In fact, we are advocating that there should be an organ bank.
Speaking on the theme, this is our chance to get it right in the health sector. Some public health specialists said the federal government needs to engage with medical specialists before taking a decision on policies that affects the health of the nation.
The theme for this year's event is, this is our chance to get it right in the health sector. The sub-themes are the Abuja Declaration 22 years after, the ethical issues in human organ donation.
We should take our rightful place in planning programs that will help our people, help the government to plan so that everybody will be well. Put in more energy so that we'll get better results in our practice.
We as medical doctors, we are on top of the value chain. This is a call to action. This is about internalizing this conversation and running with it.
The medical practitioners are also advocating for quality healthcare, improved budget management services, quality equipment to cover the lapses of brain drain in the healthcare system.
Weekends, apart from presenting an opportunity for many to relax after a long working week, offers others time to engage in other leisure activities or attend social functions, such as weddings, which are mostly planned for the weekend, specifically on Saturdays. Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, usually comes alive almost every weekend due to several weddings, with some residents attending 2 or 4 weddings in a day. However, with the economic downturn in the country, there is a lull in attendance at such events, as many are unable to move around easily due to the cost implications. Trust TV's Beatrice Kurutsi has more.
Weddings are special ceremonies where intending couples formalize their union. Such ceremonies are significant for the couples and are usually attended by friends, family members, colleagues, as well as well-wishers. These ceremonies often peak during the Ember month. However, despite the Ember month, weddings in Maiduguri are declining as very few weddings now hold.
In those days, street by street if you go, you will see, frequent marriages are conducted, things like that. There is no job, that is where people not really participating in marriages.
Like every Saturday, you will hear like 10 weddings, 50 weddings, but now people are no longer getting married like before. I attend like 3 weddings, but now even 1 wedding, sometimes you cannot, you not attend.
As you see, like this October season to November, December, you will see crashes of weddings here and there. But now, few, hardly to have a wedding like today.
There was a time I saw the statistic online that a wedding in Maiduguri happens in a single day, almost up to more than 235. That I think that was 2020. I saw that statistic and I was shocked and surprised.
That means content is a calling from God.
Geoffrey Ishaya, an event MC, is a member of a popular online platform that hosts ceremonies like weddings, seminars, and others in town. He recalls when he and his colleagues were outnumbered by weddings almost every weekend. He attributed the situation to the economic hardship and unemployment in the country.
On the platform, I always see 5 weddings happening in Maiduguri, which is not a good one. Unlike when we used to have 30, 25 a day. About 70 to 75% of the MC are sending requests as to whether if someone has a clash, so that he will give him one. And to some extent, some of the MC use it as their means of survival.
The economy hardship, even during the insurgency, you can find marriages going on more than now because of the economic hardship.
For some, the times may be hard, but they hope to get married even next year. Beatrice Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Thank you, Beatrice Kuruti, for that report. Now, many of us are familiar with women who work in fields that are typically thought to be the exclusive domain of men. The opposite is the case in this report, as Aishat Momo tells us a story of a man in his early 40s in Lagos who sells bean cakes to support his family and feels that no work is unsuitable for either gender. The report.
People in Lagos State engage in a wide variety of enterprises based on their interests. However, a common misconception is that certain occupations are exclusive to a certain gender. Mr. Chibueze Damian, popularly known as Baba Akara in the Mushin area of Lagos State, is a bean cake seller, otherwise called Akara, who has decided amidst many discouraging words and challenges to thrive in his business to make ends meet. Damian told Trust TV's correspondent that he ventured into the Akara business about 25 years ago after he was disappointed by his former boss, who runs a restaurant in Lagos. He also mentioned that by selling Akara by the roadside, he has built houses and has been able to pay for his children's education.
Okay, when I start with 1 dereka, I sell, I throw away. So, but I still get patient that one day God will interview. So, but now I thank God that I'm doing it.
The business has strongly grown over the years as Baba Akara witnessed an increase in the number of his clientele. Meanwhile, Jeremiah Chibueze, Baba Akara's son, recounted how he was bullied by fellow students while he was growing up because of his father's choice of business, but is grateful now for how far the business has grown.
Yeah, like every time, like not now, but when I was in secondary school, primary school, my friends usually call me Akara boy. I was being bullied every time for my dad selling Akara, bullied every time. But I didn't have a choice now. I just have to go with tough skin, you know. Till now I'm even proud that my dad is saying Akara. I just thank God I didn't like face on that bullying face.
He advised Nigerians, particularly the youth, not to be discouraged by anything, but to be determined to do what they set to do.
Indeed, there is dignity in labor. This is Trust TV News Hour. We'll be back after this break.
Are you interested in the latest news and developments in Nigerian politics, policy, governance, and other critical national issues? Look no further than Daily Politics on Trust TV. Our panel of experts and key people in government provide in-depth analysis and commentary on the biggest stories in Nigerian politics.
And 33.3 million Nigerians are suffering from multidimensional poverty. It's a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform.
Naira to Naira exchange rate is higher anywhere in the world. The Naira is higher than dollar exchange rate. So you want to...
Since central bank governor you're doing, you must do it fast. Number of casualties we have had, we shouldn't have had. Security as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have wronged.
From the inner workings of government to the latest on legislation, rule of law, implementation and democracy, we have you covered. Don't miss out on the latest political news and discussion. Tune in to Daily Politics, weekdays on Trust TV, your source for reliable and unbiased coverage of Nigerian politics.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No. It's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its higher horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Adam's Kitchen on Trust TV. Try grating it. I am going to show you how to prepare a Singaporean chicken rice. Like this. Back here and get my carrots ready. Put in some amount of oil on the skin. I will now go ahead and take off the chicken, spread it to a desired shape.
Welcome back and thanks for staying. And now back in Abuja, President Bola Tinubu on Sunday received the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz at the presidential villa. The Chancellor, who is on a 2-day visit to Nigeria, is said to have been accompanied by a delegation of high-ranking German business people, including chief executive officers of some of the highest valued companies in the country, as well as by a cultural delegation. The two leaders are expected to explore ways of fortifying the bilateral relations between the two countries. This is the third major visit of Chancellor Scholz to Africa and his first visit to Nigeria since the inauguration of President Tinubu's administration on May 29, 2023. And now away from Nigeria, the United Nations Relief Agency says thousands of Palestinians, desperate due to 3 weeks of total siege and bombing, broke into several of its warehouses in the Gaza Strip, taking wheat flour, and other basic goods. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Sunday repeated appeals to end the bloodshed and agree on a ceasefire to end the nightmare. Israel imposed a total siege, no food, water, electricity on the Palestinian enclave of 2.3 million people in the wake of the Hamas attack in Israel. Israel has allowed limited supplies of basic necessities and medicines. Efforts are underway to get more supply of food, water, fuel, and medicine in the enclave that has been under intense bombing since October 7. Meanwhile, internet and phone services are returning to Gaza following a communications blackout that humanitarian groups had warned could be used as a cover for war crimes. Paltel Group, which provides communication services in Gaza, said on Sunday that landline, mobile and internet services were gradually being restored after being disrupted by ongoing aggression. Gaza had been under a near-total communications blackout for nearly 36 hours following Israeli air attacks on Friday that Palestinian telecom providers said knocked out communications lines and towers. Rights organizations, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, had warned that the lack of communications in the enclave was hampering efforts to document war crimes and other abuses. In sports, WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury claimed a controversial split decision victory over former UFC fighter Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia. Ngannou, making his professional boxing debut, came out tentatively behind the jab in the opening round, and Fury seemed content with a slow start as he looked to get a read on his opponent. Ngannou, 37, put Fury on the canvas in round 3 after connecting with a left hook. But while one judge scored it 95-94 in favor of Ngannou, 2 gave it to Fury at 96-93 and 95-94. Fury's WBC heavyweight belt was not on the line. Now, still in sports, Fabio Wadley retained his British heavyweight title with a TKO victory against David Adeleye in Saudi Arabia. Wadley landed a clean left hook to put Adeleye down in round 7. Adeleye beat the count, but Wadley ended the contest moments later as he put the pressure on by going on the attack again. It is the first time a British title has been contested overseas. The fight, which served as the co-main event on Tyson Fury-Francis Ngannou undercard, made up part of one of the headline shows in Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season. President Bola Tinubu has condoled with the government and people of Kogi State on the passing of the revered traditional ruler Ohinoyi of Ibero Land, His Majesty Dr. Ado Ibrahim. The president said the death of the Ohinoyi is a painful loss, describing the late monarch as peace-loving, affable and cerebral. In a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Chief Ajuri Ngalale, the president said the Ohinoyi of Ibero Land was in a class of his own. President Tinubu described the late monarch as highly respected and admired for his deep insights, wisdom, and sophistication. According to the statement, the late Ohinoyi had a masterful way of handling issues. He was very knowledgeable and wise, praying that Almighty Allah will grant His Majesty Al-Jannah Firdaus. President Tinubu also asked the good people of Kogi State to take solace in the legacy of peace and fellowship left behind by the late monarch. We'll go on a quick break now. Join us again.
Are you interested in the latest news and developments in Nigerian politics, policy, governance, and other critical national issues? Look no further than Daily Politics on Trust TV. Our panel of experts and key people in government provide in-depth analysis and commentary on the biggest stories in Nigerian politics.
And 33.3 million Nigerians are suffering from multidimensional poverty.
It's a much calmer Buhari than the Buhari who was in the khaki uniform.
Naira to Naira X rate is higher anywhere in the world. The Naira is higher than the exchange rate. So you want to...
This central bank governor you're doing, you must do it fast. The number of casualties we have had, we shouldn't have had. Security, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we have wronged.
From the inner workings of government to the latest on legislation, rule of law, implementation, and democracy, we have you covered. Don't miss out on the latest political news and discussion. Tune in to Daily Politics, weekdays on Trust TV, your source for reliable and unbiased coverage of Nigerian politics.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not about you in itself.
Let me finish.
Because there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent developments shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Welcome back and thanks for staying. Now, up to 70% of Nigerians consume cassava on a daily basis. The farmers who bring these staples to Nigerian tables are finding new ways to increase their yield. One of them is through the special type of cassava they grow. Now, let's take a look at this.
I've been into the farming business for the past 15 years. Initially, I started just for food consumption, but as time goes on, I now went into commercial production. And presently, the difference is just too clear. Because unlike before, I don't have much dealing with selling of stems, I only deal with tubers. Because since it were local materials, people really doesn't come for local materials. But when I now had a link with the Umudike seed entrepreneurs, I now have exotic varieties, which people are always coming for them. So the difference is clear. I make more money now compared to before.
Okay, sir. I was introduced to Umudike seed entrepreneur. That's those that deal with their seed. So they introduced me to their new variety of seed, of which I ventured into a hectare farming. And after the end of it, that was last 3 years ago, I discovered that yes, actually one can make money from cassava. So selling the root alone, I made awesome amount of money. Then I refused to sell the seed because I wanted to increase the capacity. If 1 hectare can give me what I got, then I have to multiply them. So I got into 2 hectares like that. Actually, I have not sold any of my seed before because from one farm I increased the farm, and from one farm again I increased it again.
And then take note of the dates of the okay. This is fine face. We'll cover this fine face because of the quality of Gary it gives. Very clean and very so the farmers give up on water. So this is actually, remember, you have to take note of the level. This is
Initially, we have a method of getting a cassava stem. More especially when you look at your friends or colleagues who are into the system, you exchange cassava stems. More especially when you find out that this one produces better than the other. So that was how we normally go about getting the cassava stem. But fortunately, it's turned to be a different thing when I came to know Umudike seed, and when they gave me training on cassava seed production, which I now became a cassava seed entrepreneur, where I was able to have a certified seed from them. After producing, I now found out that cassava seed or cassava production is now a business.
Annually, we train and onboard new farmers. These farmers, in the training, they are taught the quality assurance, the spacing for the plant, the disease control, how to package and transport the material so that there will be no mixture when it goes to the field, and then also the commercialization and linkages such that we can connect them to market.
You're up to speed with the latest news and development in and around Nigeria. And with that, we've come to the end of the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Aisha Salihu. Thanks for your time.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.